Well, good morning guys, Wandering Beast. My name is actually Cody, and I've got a story for you, and it all starts with a love of a beautiful woman, my wife, and our desire to have a better functioning kitchen. We've been living with kind of a partial remodel as we go since I met her, really. No doors on cupboards, things talked about being redone, but really we needed to take it down to nothing and start over. Now, part of this starts a long time ago with the fact that she also has a hard time visualizing what she wants until she can see it. So I started doing little things like taking out small cupboards. We actually moved the fridge to the whole other side. I took out an entire series of cupboards. I'll put in some shots of what the house looked like when she bought it just over 10 years ago. As you can see, it's a lot of wood grain, a lot of old cabinetry, and with this soffit up above and the cabinets hanging off there, it really kind of closed the kitchen in. So while we were sitting in the kitchen prepping a meal, you would be face up to a cabinet and you couldn't even talk to the people that are hanging out in the dining room, and we wanted to open that up. So part of that becomes the triangle and how you're going to put your appliances. And so I started taking some of those cupboards down, taking a few more down, rearranging things, putting the fridge on the other side, and we lived with that for a couple months to see if that's something that you would want. If you want the fridge over there, if you like not having cabinets. And so we pared down a lot of things in the kitchen. We just simplified, which is always a good process, to purge all the unnecessary crap you just don't use. So when we finally pulled the trigger to do this, we probably should have done a little bit more research, and we did not realize that Ikea, which is where we chose to do our cabinets from, was having such a shortage getting those cabinets. So we kind of went ahead with a lot of the destruction and the demolition and getting things out, and then realized that we were going to have a hard time getting the cabinets to fill that back in. So in the meantime, if you guys have been watching my channel, you're finding this for the first time, I'm a big proponent in preparedness. So we adapted, we overcame, we have a small table set up, we're using paper plates, at least not plastic. We are doing, dishes and things like that in the shower. I've got a 3-compartment setup, soap and bleach and rinse, so that we can stay sanitary and things as we move forward. Our main 3 components we're using in our kitchen is a small air fryer. We have a Instapot, and then I have a small induction cooker. If you've been watching the Adventure Bus build, you know that's why I bought that initially, but it's been getting a lot of use in the kitchen. It also introduced my wife to induction cooking, which led her to believe that that's the cooktop that we need to put in. So she's liked it. It's been a really cool process as we go. I'll probably talk about the Ikea trip in a different story. We do have the base cabinets. They are put in. I decided, because ultimately we're going to be doing a countertop pour from Zform's countertop solution. It's a concrete do-it-yourself kit for the counters. So if you know Ikea, they have a rail system you hook the cabinet to on the wall, and you have plastic feet that kind of support the front and help level everything. I didn't really like the idea of having all that concrete supported on those plastic feet. So we first ripped out the floor, the walls, the drywall. Everything had to go. I started putting in new electrical. I started moving outlets. I started moving some other stuff. I discovered that our house has an old aluminum 6.3 power lead 50 amp service to the stove. That's not going to work. Moving forward, I want copper in there. So I got up in the attic. I moved those 50 plus feet of 6.3 cable back from the box over to the junction that I created so that we can have an in-wall oven as well as the induction cooktop, the 30 amp and the 20 amp split on a 50 amp service. Got that in. We got the drywall up. First time doing drywall. Lots of things learned on this project. I was not an expert by any means. If you guys have watched my channel for years, you know I'm somewhat of a solo nomad, motorcycle traveling around the world. Never had a home base or a house that I had to take care of. So at 40-some years old, I'm learning a lot of these trades for the first time. So if you're watching this video and you're hoping to take on a project like this, do your research and don't be afraid to pull the trigger. So moving forward, walls are back in. Now, we've got to get Ikea cabinets. Again, I'll probably save that for another video. But we got them. We got the bases. We got them built. I built my own bases to put them on. We put in a concrete subfloor. We got tile laid in. Everything's looking good. And now we're prepping for the do-it-yourself counter forms. Zforms makes an amazing kit. I'll put in some photos as we go, but there's a small plastic channel that you effectively screw onto the edge of your counter. You make sure it's sealed well. You pour your concrete, which is quite a process and a learning curve. I do recommend buying extra bags so that you can set up and do a practice form. We decided to start on the smaller counter first. We got everything mixed up. It took about 5 bags. We are picking white countertops, the white color mix and the brightener pack from Zforms. We put it in, we got it in, and it was a good learning curve. It's not perfect by any means, but we like it. We waited a little bit to see how things were going to be, sanded it down a little bit, and then we pulled the trigger and we decided to do the other half of the counter. So, you know, there was some shimming involved to make sure everything is level. That's kind of the biggest proponent I would encourage people, is make sure everything is just rock dead solid level. Because when you're pouring the concrete, you can't really afford to have it not level at that point. Where if you're going to just do a butcher block or something like that, you can cheat it a little bit. You know, if it's a little off, it's going to take up that slope and some wedges. But when you're pouring a liquid product, you can't really afford to have that. Alright guys, you know, if you search through YouTube, you're going to find a gentleman that has done the do-it-yourself Zform countertops on Ikea. They aren't going to be just plain Jane right out of the box the way you're going to do a lot of normal counters. There's a little extra prep that's involved. Because of the rail system with the Ikea, it creates a small gap. Normally you would just take concrete board, you'd screw it right on top at the exact width of your counters. You'd screw on their form system and you'd be good to go. What he discovered is they didn't offer enough clearance for the doors to open and close properly. So we found that in time. He also shimmed up the blank spots, which I did as well. From some of the projects in the bus, we have this FRP sort of shower material. I had that for some other stuff in the bus, so I cut up strips of those, laid in between the rails so that everything came back up flush level. And then we took 3/8 plywood, laid it on top, and then I did 1/4 inch concrete board, and that added just a 5/8 instead of a 1/2 inch, and that gave us a little extra clearance for doors to open properly. I don't think I would change any of that. That worked great. Again, moving forward, practicing with the Zforms is probably your biggest bet. We did pour the other half. The other counter went, not only was it more, I think we did 10 bags on that pour. With the countertop itself, was just a huge project. But I think it turned out better than the first one. I feel like if we had a 3rd or 4th counter, we would have a professional quality finish. It is definitely not professional quality. When you look up close, you're going to see some trowel marks. You're going to see some unevenness, some rougher spots and smoother spots. Coloration isn't quite where we wanted it, but we don't care. We love it. We kind of wanted that rustic feel anyway. So today I'm waiting for the weather to warm up. We're going to use their Aquathane 35 to seal the concrete. That'll make sure any water, wine, beer, whatever gets spilled, kids spilling things on the counter, that it's going to get protected for a very long time. So I may even do 3 coats of that. And that's what we're working on today, putting that on, and then the cabinets are going to go in. We're going to get finished up and move forward for the hood system, electrics, and plumbing. We're looking forward to it all, but I had quite a few PMs that got a hold of me and said, hey, I want to see what you're up to. Why aren't you posting adventure videos? What are you up to? Because you keep talking about redoing the kitchen, the mess in the garage, the lack of having a gym in the garage. All of that is coming down to this huge remodel that has been taking months, partially due to availability and getting things in stock. If any of you guys are in the building industry, just doing my wiring, finding those blue gang boxes, the electrical boxes you put in, those were in shortage from overseas for a long time. The issues with Ikea, which was, again, I will tell you another time, maybe over a beer and a campfire, but a very frustrating time to get a huge remodel like this done. Either way, we're happy, we're safe, we're home, we're getting it done. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Right now it's mostly fun stuff and picking tile on the walls and figuring out how we're going to decorate and organize, which again is kind of her niche. I will leave that to her. We will get this garage cleaned up here shortly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Get the gym back, we've got some more equipment, and get back to normal video editing and adventures. Thank you guys for your patience and watching. I hope you are well. Take care, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you